Welcome to the first video and what I hope will be a series. It's something that I've wanted to do for a while and I've decided now is the time that I'm going to do it. Video games versus reality, specifically racing games versus reality. I like doing track days and I've been to quite a few in the UK and a couple over in Europe, Spa, Nurburgring. And I've wondered how close video games actually get to real life. Now, the first video is going to be probably the longest one because I've chosen to do the longest circuit out there, the Nurburgring. I was there in April 2022, so it feels like the most fitting one to start with because it's the biggest challenge to get right. The game we're going to do it with today is going to be Forza Motorsport 7, and we're going to be going up against a video that I recorded in April 2022 to see just how similar to real life Turn 10 has managed to get the Nurburgring Nordschleife in their video game. Now, it's worth mentioning that I'm not going to be looking at this millimeter by millimeter. It's just going to be a rough geometry of the circuit. Are the bends in the right places? Does it feel the same? Do you get the sense of elevation and all of that kind of thing? So that's what we're going to be going through in this video. Let's take a look at how close to real life Turn 10 have managed to make the Nurburgring Nordschleife in Forza Motorsport 7. So what I want to note here is that I'm just coming around from doing a hot lap on Forza. So I'm coming down the main straight, which joins you up with the pit lane when you're doing a track day or a tourist day. For racing, the pit lane isn't actually here. It's further around the track, which is why I'm coming off doing a hot lap here because I had to start elsewhere. So I joined the track here at the start and we're going to sync this video up to where we get to the bridge. And this is where most people time from, is the bridge. It's worth noting that I recorded this live video in April 2022. Forza have obviously used, the perfect summer's day for their trees, etc. But as we come down to this first set of turns, we can see that it's actually very realistic. Now, they have missed a standoff there from the left, but all of the rumble strips and everything seem to be in the right kind of places. As we come through the proper racing pit lane, the proper racing pit, we get to our first tight technical turn, which we come around in third gear. And we can see that on the left-hand side and the right-hand side, everything looks pretty much where it's supposed to. There's some extra decor in Forza, but other than that, it still looks right in terms of geometry. As we come down this hill, we can see also that they've done a lot of work with the Nürburgring to clean up the graffiti. You can see loads of graffiti in the game, but on the racetrack, there just isn't quite as much of it anymore. They have tried to clean it up. As we come down now to a little set of twists and turns. This is quite an interesting set of twists and turns. In real life, coming down there, the traction control comes on quite a bit. It's a very bumpy bit of road, which you don't really feel in the game. But what you can see here quite clearly is the ups and downs. Forza have managed to capture the ups and downs here on the circuit. As we come around to this nice little section here, this is a very nice little S-bend. We can see we can take a very similar line in the game as we can in real life as we come down here through this straight over a bridge which goes over a main road, and you can see that you do feel the up and down there. You do actually feel it. As we come up another hill, we put the brakes on a little bit and then come to a turn where in real life you just put a slight bit of adjustment to the steering wheel and take one smooth turn around, and you can pretty much do that in the game. As we come to another left, we're going to come down to the first main sort of straightaway that you'll come to after you come out of the pit lane, and here you can reach quite a high speed, but as you get to this crest, which does match up in real life and the game, you have to brake and ease off a little bit just to come around this turn, otherwise you're gonna hit that side. You want to stay over to the left, start to brake here and come down to around about third gear and take an apex just around here. Probably in the real life scenario, that's the better apex. We come under the bridge, which has got the same Yokohama branding on it, so very good job there to turn 10. As we come down here to the foxhole, we've got a couple of bends, but we can take it pretty much as a straight line, and we just come straight through and really floor it down here to a left-hand turn that's going to go right uphill, can really throw you off. You need to start slamming on the brakes here as you move into a left. We move over to the right, we can see that in real life there is a zebra crossing there, but there isn't one in the game. They have missed that out. We take a very nice line around there and then we come around the track, and you can see that, a lot of the trees are actually very similar. We can see that one lonely tree up ahead on the left in the game, and it is actually there in real life. It's a lot more bushy in real life, but that single solitary tree is there. So Turn 10 doing a great job at capturing some realism here. Now we come round to a corner where I often turn too early, but we managed to take that quite well in real life. That brings us into a left-hand bend. And we can see that rumble strips and everything pretty much match up here so far on this circuit. When it comes to the track layout, it is pretty much one for one, I would say. There's going to be discrepancies in trees, discrepancy in decoration of the track itself, but when it comes to the actual geometry, it feels really very much the same. We're coming down a hill in the game, we're coming down a hill in real life, and that continues as we come around here to get to a turn that I often find this quite tricky, this one. I want to drop down to third gear and try and take a nice line through it. This line isn't too bad here for the car that I'm driving, but I think it can be better as we come down into another straight that brings us to Adenau. I'm not quite sure how you pronounce it. You can see the building up ahead there is pretty much spot on. You've got two smaller buildings to the left of a larger building on the right, and we come round and we've got the rumble strips and all the tarmac in the right place. We've got the fencing on the left hand and the right hand in the right place. Rumble strips as we come out of this bend up into another straight, all in the right place. A little fence on the right hand side there in the video game, which is also a single solitary fence in real life. Turn 10 have knocked this out of the park so far when it comes to accuracy. Now we come around here, we take a kind of later apex on this turn, and we come into a stretch that really allows you to stretch the legs of the car. We move over to the right hand side because it is a long sweeping left, and we actually have three apexes where we can just hold one position on the steering wheel. That's number one, that's number two, and then that's number three. You hold the steering wheel in one position, and that allows you to hit all of those three apexes without you having to do much work. You can just keep accelerating, and it works in game just like it does in real life. There again we have a Yokohama sign on the side, we've got a little hut on the side, and it all matches up between the game and real life. Here you want to ease off a little bit just as you come up to this turn, otherwise you will go off and hit the right hand side of the track, so we just ease off as we hit this double apex, and there you go, we've still got all the same tarmac in the same place. This car that's here in real life, not there in the game, that's something that Turn 10 did miss out, unfortunately. They didn't manage to get that Porsche in front of me on the track just at the same time as I managed to get in real life here. Now we are coming up to the most famous part of the Nurburgring. It is the carousel. We ease off here as we come around this bend, and you can see the bend is very similar. You want to drive straight ahead for this AMG sign. It is a different color here in real life to what it is in the game, but it is still an AMG sign. It's pretty much a negative. As we come around the carousel, we're carrying the same sort of speed. You want to keep on the colored tarmac, not the bit at the bottom. What you don't feel there in the video game is just how rumbly the carousel is. When you go around the carousel, it is very, very rumbly and very intense, and traction control will come on if you're not careful. You don't quite catch that in the game, you don't feel that bumpiness, but it does still feel and look pretty much just like it does in real life in the game. We come up, there's another Yokohama sign on the left that is still there, another hut that's just there on this bend that is there in real life and in the video game too. We are matching up very close. Yokohama sign on the right hand side, it is all lining up where it's supposed to. So very good work here from Turn 10. Again, we follow the rumble strips to go around to the left. We get a nice little straightaway into this right hand bend as we move over to the left, and then we want to slow it down a bit as we come around this bend to the right, because we are going to come down to one of the key points of the Nurburgring, one of the most famous viewing points that there is. Most videos you will see will be from this viewing point. You'll see cars coming down just where we are now as we come into sight of the viewing point right here. We hit this apex, move over to the left hand side. You can see the cars out in real life, you can see the people there in the game, so it matches up quite nicely. As we come around this bend, there's not much runoff, but there's more than there is in a lot of places there on the left hand side, and that has been captured in the game pretty much as it is in real life. Again, solitary fence on the corner there on the right hand side, captured in the game just like it is in real life. Now as we come down to what is widely known as YouTube Corner, this is where you'll see most of the crashes in videos on YouTube, so this is called YouTube Corner by some. We come down, we've got the up, we've got the down, you need to push the brakes, we've got the runoff on the left, it's all been captured in game just as it is in real life. The rumble strips start and end where they're supposed to, you go uphill where you're supposed to, we hit the strips on the right just at the same sort of time, and then we come down here, and as we come around this right hand bend, we're just going to go in a straight line through a turn on a crest that you just have to hope is still there, and as you can see, it matches up between the two. You're going to hit around 5th gear at this point as you start to push down towards this right hand bend. You're going to start to brake now as you get to the strips, go down to 4th, hit this apex just after the rumble strips, braking down again, possibly to third gear to go into this left-hand turn over to the right, and you can see it all lines up really, really well. We come to the mini carousel as we come up to the last set of bends before the main straight on the pits before you end your lap. And this is where we would typically end our recording as well. As we come around here, we've got 2 more right turns. There's one. We don't want to move over to the right just yet, despite the rumble strips letting you think that maybe that's an apex there somewhere, but it isn't really. You want to stay over to the left and start to move into the right as you come up to here, and then we're going to come down to the bridge, the Audi bridge, which is where you would typically stop recording. You can see it's an Audi bridge in real life and in the game, captured just in different colors. And this is the main straight. I managed to hit 190 miles an hour here in real life before we get to the bridge again for the next lap, and also in the game I managed to hit about 188. So the Nissan GTR between the game and real life when it comes to speed on this main straight, very, very similar. We come past the Devil's Diner, looks pretty much the same in the game as well. And that is Forza Nurburgring versus real life Nurburgring. And that's it. That is the Nurburgring Nordschleife in real life versus Forza Motorsport 7 and Turn 10's effort. In my opinion, they got it pretty much 100% right. They absolutely nailed it. Turn for turn, a lot of the track decoration. Overboard on the graffiti on the track. They have cleaned that up a lot in real life, but it kind of plays into the mythos and the history of the Nürburgring, keeping that graffiti in place. It's a little bit distracting on the track in Forza, I think. On the other hand, it's a nice addition and I think is something that's decent to have in there. If they lost it, I wouldn't mind, but it's a small, small niggle. When it comes to actually driving the circuit, it feels pretty much one for one like doing it in real life. The only thing that stops it feeling like real life is the fact that the cars aren't the same. It's not the same when you feel it. It's not the same when you've got a steering wheel in your hand and you feel that circuit underneath you. You see the trees whizzing past you for real life and you have that real fear that the wrong move could be the end of your days. That is what you don't get from the video game in any way at all. But when it comes to bend for bend, hill for hill, decline for decline, Turn 10 have done an excellent job. So well done to Turn 10. And I look forward to doing more of these. We'll be looking at things like Cadwell Park, Snetterton, Donington, Brands Hatch, if I can find all my old videos. I took videos of most of them and I'll look through them and see what I can find. But remember, hit the subscribe button, hit the like button. It all helps to get these videos seen. Do share with your friends. I'd like to be able to do more of this, and if people enjoy watching it, then that helps me to do more. So remember, like, subscribe, share, and thank you very much for watching. And I hope that I get to do a lot more of these and that you enjoy them. Thank you for watching.